So we got more trouble for Alex Murdaugh. He is the 53-year-old South Carolina lawyer at the center of this growing murder mystery. The state Supreme Court today suspending his law license amid allegations he misused funds from his law firm, and the local solicitor's office sending him a letter saying, quote, after the events this weekend when some of the accusations had taken place at the firm and he entered into rehab, we will no longer be authorized to volunteer his services as a prosecutor. And there's a lot more to the story, too. It all comes as the investigation continues into the brutal murders of his wife and son, which took place back in the month of June. A lot to the story. Thought we'd bring Nancy Grayson, the host of Crime Stories on Fox Nation, to try and make some sense of it. Nancy, good morning. Let me just start with some new developments here. I mentioned he's 53. Apparently, he was battling an opioid addiction and will go to rehab for that. The law firm, sources close to the law firm are reporting about millions of dollars missing. You had this incident from this past weekend where he was apparently shot on the side of the road. You were just down in the area. What did you learn?
I learned a lot. Yes, I've just gotten back from South Carolina and Savannah. Savannah is critical because the hospital there, Memorial Medical, is where he was airlifted to after being shot in the head on a very rural route. It's off Old Salkehatchie, and it is a two-lane, very narrow. What concerns me about that is he says a truck drove by, passed him, you came back, shot him in the head. Now, he lives, he calls 911, this is about 1:30 in the afternoon on Saturday. Then he calls his brother shortly after that, and he's airlifted to Memorial Medical. I'm very surprised. What, they airlifted him to put a Band-Aid on his head? Because pretty soon he was out saying he was going into rehab. First wouldn't say why, but then he finally said opioids. Here's the deal. On that road, you can see a long way to see if a car is coming or not. He would have been able to see if a car had been coming either way. But if somebody just shot him in the head, why didn't he run for the woods? Also, he said he had a flat tire, but he's driving an SUV Mercedes that has what they call extended mobility tire, a run flat, which means you drive on it flat. You don't have to change it. Because I noticed there at the crime scene, there's not a tire out, there are not tools out. This is how we're going to find out what really happened. It's called a trajectory path. Somebody, a doctor, is going to look at the path, the angle that that bullet took. Did it come from back to front, top to bottom? Can we tell if it was self-inflicted? And another thing, almost immediately his lawyer, who I might add as a criminal defense attorney, came out and said it was not self-inflicted. Well, nobody said it was until he did. Another thing, if this was the same person that murdered his wife, Maggie, and his troubled son, Paul, they're dead from shots to the head. They would have killed him, which makes this look more like a self-inflicted wound.
All right. I don't know why you shoot yourself if in the end that's what happens, and we'll have more questions then. Fitz News is out of South Carolina. They dig into a lot of these details, and they mention that item on the Mercedes-Benz because he was only 7 miles from home. They say this SUV is equipped in the afternoon on Saturday to easily make it home if he needed to, or if he wanted to, or if he had the physical capability to do it as well. So we'll wait on that. Solicitor General, here's the quote. The letter was simply a way to formalize the ending of a relationship that really has not been in effect since 2019. You're a lawyer. I mean, is that significant, or is that expected now?
It is significant. It is significant that they would put it in writing, and the whole process is moving very quickly with the state bar. They're getting him out of there, and I don't think they're concerned about his opioids. They didn't seem to be concerned about the two dead bodies at Moselle, his hunting lodge. They seem more concerned about misappropriation of funds. Over $1 million reportedly mishandled, i.e. missing. You could call it something like embezzled by him. That's the allegation. That's why he's thrown out on his ear from the law firm that his grandparents founded.
Yeah. What about the suspension from the law license? Just reading an email here from Griff Jenkins to practice in the state. You put those two things together. I mean, what are people smelling in this case?
Well, I don't think the smell test is going to be allowed at trial. But while I was there, I spoke to, I know, 25, 30 locals, grocery stores, Jimmy John's, you name it. They all think this is some sort of a revenge vendetta against the Murdaugh family for the death of 19-year-old Mallory Beach, who was thrown off of a boat that Paul, the son, was driving. It killed her. I went out on that water for hours looking at where the crash occurred. Her body floated for 5 days before it was found. But I'm not really buying into that, and I'll tell you why. Revenge murders are normally in novels and for TV, for people that don't know better to buy into. You'd have to believe that somebody was so angry, they've now taken out and tried to take out 3 members of the Murdaugh family. I don't buy it. I don't think that's what happened. I think him being shot has something to do with Paul and Maggie's brutal murder. When I say brutal, they were shot multiple times. They were unarmed, shot in the face, in the head, a mother and her son. That's what I'm concerned about, not this fiasco out on a dirt road somewhere.
The rivers run deep in this story. Thank you, Nancy. We'll talk again very soon and see where it goes. Nancy Grace, thanks.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.